Hey guys, my name's Bettina. I am a yoga teacher based on the Sunshine Coast. I have 2 beautiful boys. I've had 3 pregnancies. My body has gone up and down and changed, and today I wanted to talk to you about an issue that affects a lot of mums that I speak to, and I often get emails asking me questions about this and how to work safely within a yoga practice when you have abdominal separation. So I really want to talk about abdominal separation today, how you can check yourself for it, some things you need to know about going into a yoga practice, because I don't want you to feel afraid to do exercise. I certainly don't want you to go pushing yourself, but I don't think we need to be fearful of our own bodies. We just need to be able to understand them and know how to work with them. So first of all, what is the separation? So you've got 2 long muscles that run down the center of your abs. Now, during pregnancy, it's totally normal for these to open out and separate because you've got to make room for the baby. So what we get is a gap in the middle of our abs. Now, for some people, they come back nice and easily together and they just naturally draw back in. But for others, we end up with a substantial gap between the abs, and that can cause a lot of pain, especially in the back, because the back's not supported by the core. Some people get sciatica pain from it. A number of different problems can actually and are often caused by a weak core. Our core is the center of the rest of our practice, the center of our body, and a lot of the problems that we find in our body can be traced back to a weak core. So it really is worth getting it sorted, checking if you have it, first of all, some people don't even know, and then knowing how to practice and to repair the core as we go. So let's start by how do we check. So very simple. You may have had a midwife do this after birth. Now, you can still have separation years after delivering a baby. Some people get it without even having a child. So if they're doing a lot of core crunching and not doing it safely, they can actually create it. So bodybuilders and things like that can also create this abdominal separation. So if we just lie down on our backs, so you want to engage the pelvic floor here, and I think a lot of people forget to engage the pelvic floor, forgetting that the core and the pelvic floor work together to form this strong core section. So engage the pelvic floor, lift the chin up, just curling the shoulders up, and you'll notice that the core contracts. So whilst the pelvic floor is engaged, you can feel between the 2 muscles. So it's just above the belly button here. Now, for me, I can feel the muscles, but I can't feel the space because I don't have separation any longer. After the birth of my second child, I had about 2, so it's slowly come back together. He's about 15 months now. Now the problem becomes when you can actually turn your hand this way and count how many fingers fit between those muscles. So if you're finding that you've got 3 fingers can fit between those muscles, it's time to go see a physio and a specialist to work through the problem. Now, if you've got some separation, these are some gentle activities that you can start, exercises that you can start doing to help draw the core back together. Whether you're 6 weeks after having a baby or maybe you're 6 years, it doesn't really matter. So let's just start with some engagement. So often when we sit here, we notice that we've got a bit of a gap underneath the back, and that's because the hips are drawing the legs down, and we're creating this arch in the lower back. So just some engagement. Draw that lower back into the earth so there's no space here, and you'll notice already the core is engaged. So even straight after birth, just engaging gently here. There's no stress, no strain, but I can feel these muscles working. Add the pelvic floor to do a little bit of extra work, and just hold for a few breaths and then release, and then draw back in. So starting just to become aware of this area. Another one you can do is just let the hands rest, and as you exhale, slowly release one leg down to the side. Again, engaging that back down into the floor, and then inhale, draw it back up. Exhale, opposite side. So again, still pulling that back into the floor, and it's really gentle here. It's just starting to work with the stability that the core provides and making sure these muscles are working. So pelvic floor is on, core is on, and I'm drawing my back down into the earth. So just working really slowly here. All right, so another one that you can work with is coming to tabletop. Bringing the hands under the shoulders, drawing the elbows in, so we've got a nice line here, and taking the knees underneath the hips. Now you'll notice if I let my belly hang, it's gonna hang, and that's all those muscles releasing. So a lot of us walk around like this all day long and wonder then why we've got a sore back. It's because we're not using the core actively engaged throughout our day. So it's simply here, releasing and feeling that relaxing and non-engagement, and then drawing it in and engaging the muscles. Again, we can draw down with the tailbone to create length through the spine. And just hold here and breathe, maybe working through a few up cats and down cats, keeping that core engaged. So again, working with a little bit of movement so we can practice holding those muscles on strong. You might even, if you're feeling comfortable here, start working with one leg out. So again, practicing engaging the core, maybe lifting it off the floor, keeping these muscles engaged. So just really gentle, especially if you're only a few weeks post-birth. Drawing it down, and the other side, lifting it up, keeping those core muscles engaged, keeping the hands pressed actively into the floor, and then exhale it down. All right, so another one we can do is actually working with a wall, and this is one of my favorite ones because it is fairly strong, but it's really safe for the core. So all you need to do is come up against the wall, take your hips into it, and then walk the feet out so that you can sit down as if you were sitting in a chair. Now really press into those feet so that you can press the shoulders back and down into the wall. Now you'll notice that these muscles are engaged. If they're not, actively draw them in. So if you're still really early after having your baby, you might notice that they're not actively engaged, but just start bringing some awareness. If it's too strong, come up and work here first so the legs don't have to work so hard, and just engage the core, pulling them in. Then when you feel ready, you can start coming down a little bit lower and starting to really draw those muscles back in. So you can hold here for a few breaths and then release, and then come back and do it a couple of times. All right, the last one is probably the most important and will probably have the most impact on how this area comes back together, and it's how we stand in our daily life. So we might spend, especially with a new baby, 10, 20 minutes on our mat each day. And then we're going to spend another 24 hours in various positions with our core release. So if we can start drawing this activity into our daily lives, we're going to find it's going to come back a lot sooner, and it's going to be a lot stronger, and you'll feel a lot better in the rest of your body as well. So it's just simply coming to what we call Tadasana, or mountain pose in our yoga. And it's being aware of our alignment. So a lot of us, during pregnancy, we noticed we got this sort of action happening. So we had a really rounded lower back, our belly was hanging out, it was all released and beautiful during pregnancy. And we need to start straightening it back up, activating these quads, drawing down with the tailbone, and really engaging that core. So if you can stand into both feet, take the feet under the hips, really engage down through the four corners of the feet so that the legs are actively standing into the earth. So we can sort of just stand and hang in our bones, or we can really activate and be aware of how we align. So draw up on the thighs, draw down on the tailbone. Of course, engage the core and pelvic floor, shoulders back and down, and just reach the hands towards the floor. So you want this sort of alignment when you're walking around. So even if you're rocking baby, see if you can draw down with the tailbone, draw in with the core. So even through a rocking movement, we're engaging this area. And you'll notice also sleeping. I like to hop on my side when I sleep, but my pelvis and my tailbone and my core don't really like that anymore. And it is from having babies that this area is a lot weaker. So my pelvis is opened up to have babies and hasn't come back quite the same. And I'll notice if I sleep without the support of a pillow to sort of align me back up, that I get quite sore the next day. So it's just being aware of how our body lines up so that we can bring it into the rest of our day. Even sitting on a couch feeding, can you straighten up? All right, so I hope that helps to explain that core separation that you might be experiencing. Like I said, don't let it put you off doing anything. Burying your head in the sand is not going to help. If you've got 3 fingers, go see a physio who can really work with you specifically and your daily activities. If you also have 3, you can start working with these gentle ones here. If you've only got less than 3 and you really want to just gently start becoming aware of that core, of course, you can work with these ones. I've also got some other gentle core videos on my website, on my studio. So sign up and have a go of those once you're feeling comfortable here. There's no need to push yourself. Go at your pace. And of course, if it's not feeling comfortable, if it's not feeling good, back off. Check, am I engaging my core? Am I engaging my pelvic floor? Because you don't want to do yourself any damage. That's only going to take you backwards. So thank you for joining me today. Please check out the rest of the videos in my studio, and I can't wait to practice with you again soon. Namaste.